It is Wednesday, April 30th at 10 a.m. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Can you verify quorum or attendance, please, James?
Correct. We do have a quorum in and on virtual.
All right, sounds good. I appreciate it. Second item of business is prior meeting minutes available for ADRE YouTube channel on the website. We're not doing approval of those minutes, correct, any longer?
Correct. We do not need to approve the minutes. They're simply available on YouTube.
All right, thank you. And then let's go ahead and make introductions around the room just so we can have a record of who's here today. Let's start in person over there. Let's start on your side. Okay.
Sure. Member Harrington.
I'm Kelly Harrington, member, advisory board member. Residential.
Thank you. Amy.
Amy Gibson, doing the commercial C.
I'm Matt Cody with Cashier, fulfilling my board duties.
Susan Nicholson, Commissioner.
Ellie White, real estate broker, board member.
Patrick Rapps, new board member. I'm citizen in mortgages.
Jim Nupp, Deputy Commissioner.
Rhea Hendrickson, Office Administrator.
And then Liz.
Liz Reckon, Assistant Commissioner.
Aaron.
Aaron Green, Arizona Realtors.
Mandy Sue.
Mandy Meat, Deputy Commissioner.
That is everyone in person, sir.
All right, let's go ahead and start with online. Who do we have? Let's go ahead and start with no specific order. Just what's on my screen. Rhea.
That is Rhea in office, but she's
okay. All right. Judy, Ms. Lowe.
Judy Lowe, Arizona real estate licensee.
Thank you. Ms. Shipley.
Good morning, Christine Shipley, representing Arizona Multi-Housing Association.
Thank you. Ms. Kishan.
Thank you, Dana Kitchen, Desert Sage Seminars.
Thank you. Mr. Bowles.
Ms.
Charlie. Charlie is on mute. We'll come back. Mr. Andert.
Timothy Andert with the Department of Real Estate. I'm the Licensing and Development Services Supervisor.
All right, thank you. And is there anyone else I'm missing on there? One screen. I think that's everything. Myself, Mateo Rosales, your chair, Yuma, from the Yuma County, and real estate professional and licensee. Did I miss anyone, James?
Correct. No, Chair. Both members Jackson and member Ramirez informed that they would be unable to attend.
All right, thank you. All right, so moving along, let's go to item number 3, advisory board member reports. Go ahead and get us started, James.
So sure, during the report section of the agenda, what's intended, and Commissioner can certainly expound on this, it should be a time where you're coming from different sectors of the industry, each of you, residential, commercial, subdivider, mortgage lenders. You each bring a different perspective. You're each hearing things that are different from each industry in which you're working out in the field. This is your opportunity to tell us as a department what you're seeing, what changes are happening in the industry, what do you need us to step up and help you with in the industry. And it's really your opportunity to help inform us as to the decisions we're making. Commissioner, if you want to expound.
No, this is really where we're so encapsulated at the Department of Real Estate, right? We don't have MLS access. We're not in the trenches anymore. And so this is really the conduit for you to advise me of what is happening there. On the flip side, sometimes there are items that will come up at the Department of Real Estate. We have only one today that I'm going to bring forward to the advisory board to just get feedback on what your thoughts are and implications and who should be involved in helping us grow. So that's why we're here. It's to make the industry better.
All right, let's start in the room with Ms. Harrington.
Okay, I just had a couple of points I wanted to bring up today. One that we've started to see a lot of is uneducated realtors. Either realtors that do it part-time or are newer, join a large brokerage, aren't getting the guidance from their brokerage. I mean, I have one right now that doesn't realize he's probably not going to get a commission because he didn't ask for it in the contract. So because of those new changes that they're not used to, and they're not getting the guidance, not asking for concessions when the lender requires it, and it's in the pre-qual, so there's a lot of just uneducated realtors out there. So I don't know how we address that, if it's broker specific or what, but you know, it's scary to see that these people are representing, you know, our clients on these major purchases and making these big mistakes. So that's kind of scary. The other thing that we're dealing with right now in Pinal County is it does appear that we're in a declining market. And sellers still have this unreasonable expectation that their homes are worth a lot more than they are. The market continues to fall. They're trying to chase the market. Appraisers are now adjusting to that, and we're definitely seeing a lot of appraisal issues. And it's, you know, so like by, you know, a couple $100,000 apart in some cases. And so it's definitely very challenging out there right now. Buyers are hesitant, they're scared, they want to wait till the market cools down. Sellers, you know, they don't want to lower their, you know, so every deal is a lot more difficult than traditionally has been. But that's kind of what we're seeing, is that uncertainty out there. So.
And Chair, if I could respond or add a little bit.
Yes, go ahead, James.
Okay, so this is a perfect example of Member Harrington sharing that there may be an issue within appraisal differentiations between what they're giving on, but based on the licensee. We know personally who regulates appraisers. So we can reach out to BTR and say, hey, could you put some education out there on making sure that your appraisers are using current actual numbers to do their appraisals, because we're getting conflict in the industry in Pinal County specifically or statewide. So that's a great example of where sharing a report can mean something more to us than you might think it does. But telling us about current market conditions, it helps us better communicate with our state partners.
Yeah, because I mean, as realtors, we try to run our comps and guide our clients the best we can. But if appraisers are using different parameters that we're not aware of, we can't adjust properly. So there's definitely a huge gap there on how they're doing it versus what we all are used to, you know. So any education there, or, you know, even some appraisal classes for realtors would definitely be beneficial as a refresher.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Matthias, if I may?
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner.
So Kelly, I'm kind of taking as takeaways here, maybe an all call to all of our school administrators, letting them know there is a specific need for more education out there and more focus in the areas that you've described. And then Jim, I was going down the same exact path as you, reaching out to Judith over at BTR and who are the regulatory licensing authority for appraisers, and seeing what type of education they have, or, you know, what data sets, and maybe taking a look at some of their educational classes and working to create something to help our school administrators learn and then go out there and teach. Because, you know, even when I was in practice, sometimes you would scratch your head as to how the appraiser is necessarily getting there. And so I think specifically I'll talk about, in a declining market, how our appraisers making adjustments from these comparables within the last 30, 60, 90 days, you know, depending on type and within here, but we have a declining market, and where are their data pulls and how are they factoring that, so that you guys can get ahead of it in the field. So yeah, that's something I'm happy to work on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy, you want me to come back to you till you get a better feel, or are you good to go? You're good to go. Good to go. Member Gibson.
Thank you. Well, actually, I'm going to piggyback off of what she said, only on the commercial vein. What I am finding is I'm having residential agents who are interested in doing commercial deals come to me and go, how do I get educated on commercial? And how do I find a mentorship? Nobody wants to mentor us. And I'm like, I get that. We're busy. But so what I've started doing is actually teaching commercial classes to residential, but they're just not out there. And there's not really any mentorship programs out there at the moment for once they get their CE classes, they still don't have the guidance of what to do. And I would run into residential agents doing a commercial deal, and they're drowned before they even realize they were suffering in the water. So that's one thing that's an issue right now. And I'm finding more and more residential agents wanting to go into commercial. I'm not sure why that wave is right now, because commercial is not a piece of cake like they think it is. And then the other thing, just general market knowledge. Right now, it's still a high market in majority of the commercial disciplines. Office condos and small industrial spaces are at a premium because there's just no new builds happening in those sizes. And it is just such low inventory and high demand right now. So it's very difficult. The larger industrial buildings are getting built on the east side and the west side, you know, next to Eastmark and Mesa Gateway, and outside on the west side. And of course, everyone knows about the semiconductor coming in on the north side. There'll be some more retail being built there, but the smaller spaces for the smaller businesses, it's just hard to find right now.
Cool. Thank you. Member Cody.
I'm pretty sure Kelly and I started together a year ago, which means we are in our second year, which means we're no longer rookies. Right? On top of that, we're not even the newest on the board. I don't think we should do anything easy, though.
No.
I think we should just continue that. But,
No future documentaries.
Only unless it includes wine later.
That works, right? I'm a
Hazy
homeowner
memories.
representative, and I have nothing to record, which I think is really great news because you may recall there was quite the uproar over the NAR settlement, whatever. And I don't think that, and we resell world I can't speak to, but in the new home world, it's just not an issue. Because whatever it was blew over, and it's kind of been business as usual for us. Also, I don't really have anybody who's reached out to me anything I'm sharing. It's just simply my own knowledge. So I have it pretty quiet, which I think is probably a good report.
Great. Thank you, sir. Member.
Well, I've got two things that I've had some people reach out to me, and one of them was personal. I attended a CE class a couple of weeks ago, and I met a gentleman who was just fantastic, super personality. He'd been a broker for 30 years on the East Coast, and the class was about curing or counseling. Or cure is not counsel. And he had no idea what a cure was. He'd never seen one in all of his years on the East Coast. And I said, well, tell me about the East Coast on the break. And we're a conveyance state and we don't do deed of trust. And oh my God, how many pages is your contract? And I'm like, well, how long have you been here? Well, I've been a broker here for 2 years. Your own broker. Yes, I have my own brokerage.
Wait,
Do you represent real estate transactions here? Yes. The next day he called me and offered me a job as his manager, as his broker, which I declined politely. But I did suggest he take a GRI 2-day contract class. Oh, I don't want to do the GRI. I've been licensed for 30 years. I understand. But we have an amazing contract. It's gotten here for reasons, you know, lawsuits, things like that. I really recommend you do it because it's a line by line thing and you will understand it at the end. So he did sign up and he actually sent me the receipt to show he'd signed up. But my fear is this, that he's only one. How many people are coming here as brokers from out of state and getting a broker license? I will share his name with you if you want after the event. But how is that happening, that we're allowing them to become brokers straight away with no experience in Arizona? I was frightened by that. The second one is the rentals. These fees are going crazy. A fee to change the filters, a fee to drive by and pick up your rent, a fee if you have something hanging from the ceiling in the living room. These fees are just getting bigger and bigger and worse and worse. And I have a friend who does nothing but rentals, and she's telling me that some people absolutely can qualify for the rent, but once these fees are added on, they might as well buy a $500,000 house because that's what their payment would be. So huge issue with rentals.
Thank you, Member White. Member Epps.
Okay, I've got a couple of things. It just, until I get the feel for all this, I think they're all you can draw conclusions from it. One of the things is what Kelly mentioned earlier is education. I'm running into a lot of that because I do interface with agents and customers directly. One of the things that agents aren't aware of is that currently when a borrower gets a hard credit pull, their credit report, the pull is reported and sold to as many people as will pay for it. I had a client who's a ex-executive for a makeup company. He'd recognize she got 40 phone calls to solicit a loan the next day after qualifying and getting under contract. And the problem here is just taking up all of their time. But more than anything, if agents know in advance to teach this, to advise their customers, they can opt out of this, but it takes 5 days. So you can have a transaction delayed, because in the best interest of the client, I tell them, look, this is what's going to happen to you. And they may wait 5 days before they can get their pre-qualification solidified, because they have to wait for that buffer period. You can opt out of it, and it's a major site, but having that information out in front of people is going to help agents and customers alike, I think. But that's one of the biggest things, that and the education around what's going on with market fluctuation. I don't think people realize just quite how bad it is. I've got clients that were buying homes and then couldn't qualify again. And I've done this for 25, 26 years. To put it in perspective, we'll normally have in a regular market a couple of fluctuations in a month midday pricing. In the last 27 days, we've had over 45 price changes in the middle of the day, some of them enough that someone wouldn't qualify. And I think agents need to be aware to educate their customers, make them aware that they should act as soon as possible, because it could change tomorrow. Right now, it's that volatile. And then maybe, anything else I've got is not that important, I guess.
Thank you, member. All right, we'll turn online. Member Shipley. Or actually, we'll save you, Member Shipley. Member Bowles. Because you're vice chair, Shipley.
Yeah. So the first person that shared the challenges with uneducated agents, I had that happen this morning. Then I explained to Jim why I had to be online this morning. But anyhow, I was in a doctor's office, and the nurse's aide, just out of the blue, said, I just bought a new home, and the real estate agent was terrible. And she elaborated a little bit, and that's not the only one. I keep running into that also. It comes back to the broker, and the broker's responsibility to make sure that the agents that he or she are representing in their office are properly educated. And if not, they've got to sit them down and make sure that they understand what they're doing and with each deal. That's what I found when I was running Sotheby's here in Tucson. I had to sit them down and go over their specific clients and what they were facing and what they were dealing with. And that's the way I was able to give them the best assistance. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Member Bowles. Vice Chair Shipley.
Thank you. I just had one matter today from one of our members that came forward, and we are required to submit notice of any new trust accounts that we are opening or closing to the department. And one of our members has reached out and is requesting that the commissioner takes consideration and take a look at the extra administrative burden they believe is being put on them for having to provide a copy of the signature card with that notification of the new trust account. And so I said I would certainly bring that to the commissioner's attention. And I think this specific member was stating that undue burden is due to the number of banking institutions that they're utilizing. And that was all I had this morning.
Chair Matthias, if I may.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
So yes, we are cleaning up our database, and we should always have a copy of the signature card, because the signature card is who can actually access the money that is placed in trust on behalf of the people of Arizona. with companies that have hundreds of trust accounts because they open up a trust account per door. We do work with them on an affidavit statement that if they say it is the same people on all of our signature cards, it is these two people, then we'll take that statement and there's a random number that then we will say, okay, we take your statement, but trust but verify, give us 10. Give us 5, you know, and I think it's done as a percentage. It's I'm not in the weeds on it, but so we do take into consideration that we're not going to ask you to go and provide 432 signature cards unless you're going to tell me that you have 432 different people with access to the people's money. Then I am going to ask you for all 432 signature cards. But in most cases, it's usually the same two people that are on a signature card. We'll take that statement, take a percentage, and we'll ask for that. And then that would be included in how we would go about auditing and making sure that we're doing our due diligence. But yeah, those signature cards, it seems like an inconvenient thing, but that truly is who can write checks and who can close that account and who can access all of that money that is in trust to be held for the people of Arizona. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And if I might, I will report back that affidavit of statement for multiple accounts with the same signer. I was not aware of that. So thank you for that information.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Chair.
All right, good morning again. Thank you to the new members that we have for giving your reports. And I know you guys introduced yourself, but I do want to take this moment to also have you give us a little bit more history of why and what you do and how you, what your thoughts are here for the advisory board. So do you want to start with, I'm sorry, James, the screen's so small, I can't see I can't even recognize the commissioner there.
Member Raps and Member Gibson.
Gibson is on the right, my screen, yeah, Gibson. Do you want to go ahead and, I know you already introduced yourself, but give us a little bit more. That way we get a little bit better one-on-one.
Sure. So my name is Amy Gibson. I am currently an associate broker at Commercial Property Connect, a boutique commercial brokerage. We are a generalist, independent brokerage. So we do all of the commercial disciplines: office, industrial, retail, multifamily, commercial land, and specialty. I haven't said that before. And I focus currently right now on buyer and tenant representation in all of those disciplines. I have been doing commercial real estate for over 12 years. I am a native of Arizona, originally born and raised in Tucson. I hopped the invisible barrier and came to Phoenix 25 years ago. I did not attend any state college in Arizona, but if you are Sun Devil, then I'm going to root for the Wildcats just to be annoying. Yeah, so that's kind of who I am.
All right, thank you. And I'm sorry, I missed it. Where did you relocate from?
So I was originally born in Tucson, but then I went to school in Chicago. I played basketball at a small college in Chicago.
Okay.
Got my teaching degree and got my first teaching job back here in Phoenix.
Okay.
I taught for 8 years, and then I did a myriad of other things. And then commercial real estate called my name, and I discovered that I like it. So I'm still here.
Cool. So you left the hot summer to go over to the Chicago cold and then back to the summer. So
yes,
cool.
I'm a desert rat.
There you go. Thank you. All right. On the opposite end,
Mr. Raps.
Yeah, Patrick Raps. I'm a residential mortgage lender, both banker and sometimes broker. I've done that I lose track. It's 25, 26 years. It's a long time. That's all I can say. I've been through quite a few markets like this. Lived in Arizona since 1982 when I moved out here from Minnesota. So I'm practically a native. I think if you've been here that long, but I wouldn't leave if they tried to drag me out. I love it here. Primarily, I end up working with first-time buyers a lot, and I run into all kinds of unique situations. I also run 6 or 7 large Facebook groups of different kinds, sales groups and community groups and things like that.
And he's also an amazing photographer whose pictures get posted on the Arizona Highways magazine.
There you go.
He's a fellow sourdough bread baker. too.
That too.
They're important things that everyone needs.
Yeah, the photography is how I keep my sanity, but in fairness, I only get in the Friday photos that are posted online that you
I
can
don't get
submit, but you know, I've never actually gotten in there despite having some friends who are actual Arizona Highways photographers, but.
All right. All right. Thank you for that. Thank you. And I don't have much to report on. I did get a couple emails from a gentleman that was having issues with property management, and I think he misunderstood the function of the advisory board. So he CC'd me on his emails in regards to his issue with his broker or to the realtor that was assisting him or licensee. I never got to that part. So I just referred him to the ADRE website. I told him there's a process to submit a complaint. I sent him the links. And he goes, oh, okay, thank you. I thought I had a CC you since he thought the advisory board was the one that dealt with that kind of stuff. And yes, it was related to property management, and he was a tenant not happy with the result, I guess. But hopefully the ADRE, if you submit the complaint, you know, they'll go through their process. In regards to your comments, I mean, into the reports, I agree. If we could figure out how to get agents, licensees, realtors to training, that would solve a lot of these problems. I mean, I know efforts are made at the large scale, at the NAR level, AAR level, local level, brokerage levels, and getting people to attend to the training is the hardest part there. The commercial sector, you know, we have agents in my office that want to get into the commercial, and we require them to get their CCCIM designation, do the training, and make sure that they at least do the basics before we let them get their feet wet with commercial. So it does come down to the brokerage level, but even at the broker level, getting people to attend those trainings that are offered across different platforms, that is the $1 million question. If we could get that answer, I think we would see a lot more happier consumers and better trained realtors. So hopefully working together, we can figure that out. And thank you for bringing up that issue with the hard credit pulls, because I've noticed that recently too. You know, lenders run a pre-qual and the next day people are getting 40, 50 calls. I was not aware of the 5-day opt-out option, so that's good. That's a good information to pass on and maybe do some training, and we'll see if our partners at AR might do something about that too, to teach the realtor members and licensees at the state level. Let me see regarding what else. That's all I have to report. And I apologize for not being there in person. Normally I do go down in person, but I might be leaving to Long Beach, California later on. My mom's not feeling well, so I didn't want to do another 6-hour drive back. So I might be leaving to Long Beach in a bit. So with that said, that's all I have to report. Let's go ahead and move on. If no questions or comments on that, we'll move on to the Arizona Department reports itself.
I do have a clarification. That 5 days, just to make sure that's an approximate time that it takes to get it in place. I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Once they opt out, it takes 3 to 5 days, and I would say 5.
Okay. All right. Especially if the weekend comes through or something like that, or a holiday probably.
And Chair, if I could ask for further clarification.
Yes.
So would you say best practice would be for a licensee who starts working maybe at even consultation to have them enroll in that? Or does
absolutely directly? It is a federally mandated site that the credit bureaus have to run. It's optoutprescreen.com is what it is. It's basically put up for the purpose of specifically opting out. And when they do opt out, that's for 5 years.
Gotcha.
So, and it takes about that long, but it would be helpful for any lender out there and the clients themselves if agents just knew to advise people of that, ask them if they've opted out, and to make sure they're not confused with credit locks or something, because it's completely different.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Good information. Thank you on that. All right.
Thank you, Chair.
Where do you want to go next, James? Report?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, thank you. I think we can do some social media posts, and we now have an office administrator. So we will be doing a quarterly newsletter again.
Woohoo!
Yay! So really, really excited. We have good news and we have bad news at the department. I'll save the worst news for last. But starting, new homes. I think we're gonna need to put together a task force of some expertise and would love some feedback on who you think should, who we should try to accumulate into the room. But we've noticed that, there are some home builders, national home builders, that, there's mergers and there's acquisitions and there's, parent companies that have the land ownership and they are the sellers, but there's multiple trade names. And the business model that is out there doesn't really conveniently fit into our title and chapter and statutes as far as advertising rules and laws, and signage and it's a unique area. So there's a little tiny section in rule that's a little bit helpful as far as making every one of the sales centers not have to be a branch office. But I think given the scope of trying to, obviously we're here to protect the public, but we shouldn't be putting reins on businesses that are unnecessary. Like, okay, but get us a this agreement and a this a permission and a like this and this and this, so that we can draw a line into how we're in compliance in the title and chapter, when I think maybe there's an opportunity to do some special rulemaking and carve out a better solution for developers and new home builders that would allow for different types of business structures. So we were thinking that we should probably start having conversations, discussions, discovery, and see now. Obviously, if it required legislation, it wouldn't be until next session. And if it were special rulemaking, then we could endeavor to go down that direction as well. But any thoughts on that?
And that, I know we're not big enough that we have the issues you're talking about, but certainly I have some contacts enough that we could, if we knew what we were looking for, I think it has helped us assemble participants. Yeah.
There's some context too. I work with a land acquisition guy that purchases just single lots in Arizona City for a builder, but their acquisition name is different than the builder name. And so they use me to write offers on the lots, but then they use their own salespeople to sell the homes. So they kind of work similar to what you're explaining.
Yeah, it's really like a round peg, a square hole. It doesn't exactly fit. And as long as we have the data in the database and the protections in there for the public through licensure and regulation, then I think, we need to take a look at it and see if we can do a better job for, we want to be open for business in Arizona, right? We need houses. Please come build us houses. Please build us affordable houses. Anyone else think you would have connections or anything, ma'am?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
We're obviously in conversation with Habaca already, Home Builders Association.
Yeah, we are. Okay, well, good. I'll touch base with you then.
So the action
Matt.
plan is just to wait and hear from you.
Yep, wait to hear from me, and we're gonna kind of start to maybe throw together some task force meetings and see how we can do a better job for home builders. And Kelly, I'll reach out to you too to get those contacts. Some sad news. The Arizona Center for Fair Housing has been the source in Maricopa County for 40 years, where mostly people in HOA and landlord county manager district would go there, and they were the ones that they had shoppers and investigators. They put together cases and they refer it to the Civil Rights Division of the Attorney General's office here. So there was always this flow. And the other one that's probably better known is the Southwest Fair Housing. The Arizona Center for Fair Housing, their last day is April 30th today. They lost their federal funding. That tap has been shut off. And the information that I have on Southwest Fair Housing is that they have enough funding to go through the fall, but then they would be reliant on federal grant money coming through again. And, given what's happening today, which could be different in the middle of the day, but from what's happening today, I think they're kind of bracing for impact. And so we have been in talks with the Civil Rights Division of the Attorney General's office, and we are looking at creating a memorandum of understanding between the Department of Real Estate and the Attorney General's Civil Rights Division to try and fill some of the void. And we are delightfully also in conversation with Arizona Association of Realtors. And we look forward to having kind of a fair housing task force with the people who were serving and are currently serving in these nonprofit organizations, along with some people in Arizona Realtors DEI committee, DEI committee, DEI committee, to see if we can't do some industry guidance. We may go as far as issuing kind of a fair housing advisory for transactions, and not to say that would be a forever thing, but that would be a thing that we would keep updated while we're in flux of change of today it's this and next month it might be that kind of a thing. And that would again be in partnership with Civil Rights Division of the Attorney General's office, the nonprofit groups, and the Arizona Realtors. So we're happy to report that we're working on something, and we are not happy to report that, you know, these longstanding organizations are shuttering their doors. I have a thank you, and I don't get many opportunities to kind of put it on record, but thank you to our distance learning providers. So once again, second time that it's happened in my tenure, a mass communication went out to people whose licenses would expire soon to say it's torturous to do that continuing education. So if you pay me, I'll do it for you. And they were utilizing our distance learning educators as the platform that they would do that. We partnered with the criminal division of the Attorney General's office and were able to track down who was doing it. Unfortunately, we won't be bringing that person to justice in Pakistan. But we did find out how he was getting paid, and even though that organization was very hard to sort of locate a physical office, they did have a license with the Department of Financial Institutions here, so we were able to contact our sister agency across the hallway and get that contact information. We issued a subpoena. We've cross-referenced it with our database, and we have identified a couple licensees that have paid this person in Pakistan. And so I think that investigation is ongoing, but, you know, I'd love to see the visa where they were in Pakistan taking their CE, because that's where their IP address chases to for their CE. So, hopefully, you know, when we wrap that investigation, you'll probably see an announcement on it, because I just want to make it loud and clear to all of the licensees out there that paying somebody else to do your continuing education is not an option. And I will partner with the agent criminal to hunt you down and discipline you. So, so there is that. That is out there, but distance learning schools were wonderful. Once we identified the IP address, they worked with their website administrators, and you know, and I don't get the opportunity to sort of reach back out and say, you know, hey, yes, we asked you for this, and we know that interrupted your regular business practices, but I just want all of the schools to know we're very grateful, and we did take it all the way to the end game of that. So we did take action, and I think that makes our industry better. Okay, my last announcement is that we have a deserter among us.
Hang your head.
Something about, you know, like career growth and excellent opportunities for like building a resume and, you know, phenomenal chance to do something good and all of that. So I am personally sad, but in the world of career choices, very excited to be losing Deputy Nupp, Jim, to the governor's office. So Jim is moving over to the governor's office. Today's his last day on site. He'll be remote for the end of the week, and then on Monday morning he'll be over at the executive tower. Jim, do you want to say anything?
I do. You know, I was at the ROC for about 8 years and really enjoyed my time over there. I had kind of met the end of my career growth at the Registrar of Contractors, and I found a job in Florida. And it was an elections job. It was going to be a challenging communications role. But then a friend of mine ended up being appointed commissioner, Louis DeTore. And so we were talking, and I said, Louis, if you need a deputy, I'd be happy to come back. So I only lived in Florida for 6 months. And then crazily, I moved back. Louis was not retained, and I thought, oh God, I just moved all the way back across the country to be fired by the next commissioner. And so when we found out it was Susan, I reached out to her. We went and had coffee, and immediately both of us realized, like, we are the same spirit animal. We want to do right. We want to make change. And I think over the past 3.5 years, 3 while you've been here, 2.5 while you've been here, we've made incredible leaps and bounds in modernizing this department and educating licensees. We continue to, and you're going to continue to. I wish I could give you an update on when the law book arrives, but because we never really followed state procurement law, we're stumbling through. How do we actually do that? How do we actually get the law book in a legal manner to, like, as a department? And so, like, it's just minor stuff like that, but also rolling out with Mandy, Liz, and Elena, who's now at the state Senate, new education, 3 courses in educate. Like, we've made milestone leaps and bounds in this department over the past 3 years. I regret none of moving back. I've so appreciated getting to know you personally, as well as professionally, and the department is in fantastic hands under your guidance. I am looking forward to moving over to the governor's office. It's going to be an exciting role, senior operations advisor. So I get away from legislation. I get away from communications. And I'm just going to be focusing on continuous improvement and making sure that the strategic plans that several departments, including Department of Real Estate, have are actually able to be completed. So I'll be advising a portfolio to include, I believe, land, water, real estate, Department of Transportation, and the Office of Broadband. So it's an exciting career move. When they reached out, I was not looking. They reached out and said, hey, we have this opportunity. And it was then that I thought, okay, I can't pass this opportunity up. It's growth that I need at this age. And so, Susan, thank you for everything you've done for me. And Mandy, Liz, same, and board members, you're in great hands with this staff. So thank you, Susan.
So I have zip ties and duct tape.
That's the hazing.
Gonna be located here.
Yeah, he works there, but his office is physically here.
But Mandy's taking mine. I know. I did. But thank you, Chair.
Good luck, Jim.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jim, and since I've been on this board, and I think I remember could say the same. You've always been there, answer our questions, and to the best of your knowledge. And if you don't know the answer, you find it out and communicate properly. So thank you for the hard work you've given to our Department of Real Estate, to the commissioners, past commissioners, and we wish you the best in your new position. And that is a great, like the commissioner mentioned, resume and experience for you. And I know you'll keep on moving up and better things. So thank you for all those years you've given to our board.
I echo that, James, and just the best to you.
Thank you, Charlie.
And then if you need some scissors to cut the duct tape off, let us know.
Yes, we can work together.
All right. Any other staff reports? Well, who's next? What do we have? Deputy Commissioner? Or who's next?
So what I'll say about Rhea is going to be your point of contact for any board issues, any questions you have. Chair, she's going to be reaching out to you a week before each meeting to set the agendas. Then I've taken her through open meeting law. If you have any questions, feel free, reach out to Rhea. Rhea is going to be also taking over procurement. She comes from Department of Transportation, where she was doing procurement over there as well as other finance functions. So she's going to be supporting the department in those critical ways to make sure that we're, again, following the law. So if you want to introduce yourself.
I'm Bria Hendrickson, the new office administrator. I have experience in administration for over 20 years, I would say. And I worked with the Department of Transportation for 5 years as an office assistant to a construction office. So I have some experience in roadway construction.
Is Ria there in person or on Zoom?
Oh, I am. I'm
Can you maybe stand in the middle so we can see you?
right here. Hi.
All right. We can't see that corner for some
I
reason.
prefer not being on camera, so I'm super happy with this corner seat. I'm very happy. But anyways, I'm excited to join the Department of Real Estate and work with them. They're a great team.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Who's next? What do we have?
Go for it, Mandy Sue.
Hi, I'm Mandy. I just want to say, Jim, that without your knowledge, Susan and I would not be where we are today. We appreciate your training, your teamwork, and just really standing by us. And we're really going to miss you. So I'm not going to talk to you the rest of the day because it makes me.
We were a great team. Yeah, we are a great team.
What you guys don't know is that Jim and Mandy fired each other at least once a week and then rehired each other.
We're-
So they were like, you're fired. Well, you're fired. Well, you're rehired. You too.
There is that.
There's something about Michigan, Ohio State, and we're so much going to miss
Yeah.
our Jim at the department.
Thank you.
All right. I think
That's it, Matthias.
All
Call
right.
the public.
Call to the public. This is the time for the public to comment. Anything they would like for us to discuss in future meetings. Anyone from the public? In person, online, if you are, raise your hand. We're going once. Oh, Charlie. Go ahead. No, he said
Never
no.
mind.
All right, nine. Going twice. Hearing none. All right. Next meeting will be scheduled for August 6th. Is that the correct date?
It is.
All right, August 6th, 2025. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be 118 degrees that day. So if you're coming in person, be cool. Bring your water, your Stanleys, or whatever you carry your.
And it is going to be in this room, and the August is not nice in this room.
Yeah, all the glass back there. So please be prepared. With
Bring your water because we can't supply it.
Shorts, acceptable dress code.
I don't know.
If anything, nothing further, meeting adjourned at 10:47 a.m.